Hey, what's up, everybody? There's a 2-second delay, but we're just going to record it at this point.
Yeah.
I'm Owen Finch, and I'm here with...
AJ Talent, and finally, it's our review of the Death Note special one shot from 2019.
So let's do a little behind the scenes on a few things before we actually start reviewing this. I'll try to keep it quick. So AJ and I have been trying to do our 400th video for the CM Brothers channel for like over 2 years, I think, at this point. It might be, honestly, it might be 3, but we've had a lot of things. Maybe we'll go into it more when we actually do a 400th video, but the biggest thing is this video, because for a while this video for us was freaking cursed, because every time we scheduled this video we always had to reschedule it.
And I found this when it first came out in like 2019, 3 years ago. And we were like, oh, hey, we'll read it. And then here we are 3 years later, we're finally doing it.
Yeah.
And with this one video, we will have met our 2022 output.
Yeah.
We made one video in 2022, and now we're making one in 2023.
So the thing we have to hope for is that we can stay on schedule and actually do more than one. If we do more than one video this year, I'll be happy.
That's right. I am graduating college this year, so that is a thing that we're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, so...
fingers crossed. Anyway, let's stop dilly-dallying. We shall go on with this.
So
this is written and illustrated by the same duo who wrote the original Death Note manga series.
Yeah. So we haven't read the I did read the manga. I didn't read like the whole thing. I read like bits and pieces of it, but
we've seen the anime though.
Yeah, but for a while, AJ and I have talked about this. You've probably heard us talk about it on videos, but we've mainly talked about it behind the scenes type of thing, where we mentioned what would Death Note be like if it took place today, and obviously the year would change but this was 2019, and we're like, what would happen if Death Note did take place today? Because obviously the Death Note originally takes place in like 2006, at least a good chunk of the show, anyways.
Right. And like after the time skip, it's like 2011 or something.
Yeah. So we were obviously curious, like, what would they do? Because there's so much technology now that's advanced. Like, they pretty much couldn't do the things that they did in 2006. So what would it be like?
Brought up in this chapter that, like, you couldn't kill the FBI agents in the same way, like, the security cameras.
Yeah.
Like, internet history is tracked. Phone calls are tracked. Like, just there's so much that gets in the way of like the plot happening. And of course, that was fine for the early 2000s because it's like the internet was much more primitive. Security was a lot less. But nowadays, like things like that can't really happen the same way.
Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about the start of this. What do we call? I mean, that's a short, but are we really calling this a manga since it's really not that long? Like,
I mean, you would still call a comic book even if it's just an issue. So this, the one shot, I guess.
But yeah, this one shot, it starts actually weirdly enough in like 2013 in the Shinigami world. So what AJ and I came to speculate is that in the Shinigami world, really time isn't really a factor there. They just kind of hang out and all that type of stuff because, which I guess does explain a little bit better that like Shinigami that like didn't know his Death Note was gone for like 6 years,
and then why he showed up.
Yeah, I mean it still doesn't help because but it does explain it a little bit better. Just we're still gonna crap on it though because this guy
it's like it only happened because of the plot.
Yeah.
And also, it's like the Shinigami are shown to be extremely bored all the time.
Yeah.
So if his Death Note's missing, you figure he'd be like, well, I'm bored. I got nothing better to do.
I know. But
anyway, that's more of an issue with the Death Note series. But this one shot starts with another Shinigami handing his Death Note back to Ryuk and saying that it didn't work out like Ryuk did. Like the human he found wasn't good.
Yeah.
So it's showing that like other Shinigami have noticed what Ryuk did with light, and they themselves have been like giving their Death Notes to humans, hoping to like be entertained.
And yeah, it hasn't really been working out. So
right? Because they don't really understand humans, and
yeah,
Ryuk basically hit the jackpot with Light,
I
so
know.
genius and like ambitious basically is what you need for
Um,
something for like to create like entertainment for them basically.
yeah. So Ryuk wants apples pretty much, and decides to go down and try to get himself. But this time he actually picks the person because
Right.
he mentioned it in the original anime and stuff that he didn't pick Light. Light just happened to. He dropped the Death Note. Light just happened to pick it up. This time he chose the person that he wanted to have. He wanted to get someone that was just as intelligent as Light.
Right.
And
Owen hasn't seen 2017 Death Note, and I didn't like spoil it, but I did mention that that movie does a similar thing where Ryuk specifically chooses Light rather than like just randomly picking it up.
yeah,
And I did not like the explanation they gave in that movie. I think it was very poor, like a lot of things in that movie. But Owen will get to that.
we will get to hopefully this year.
Right. Hopefully, hopefully by the time we turn 30.
That's not a lot away from me. I still got 4 years.
27.
3
Right.
years
Well,
out.
I'm 22, so 30 seems farther away from me.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh God, man, we're getting old.
yeah,
But I like the explanation that Ryuk, of course, hit the jackpot with Light basically. So he's looking specifically for someone like Light because he says he wants to be entertained for like a long time.
yeah,
Because if he just finds a random person who isn't like Light, like the other Shinigami said, it's not going to last long.
yeah.
He wants to find someone like Light who can keep him entertained for a good period of time.
Because this is a short, they probably don't show that. But what I'm assuming probably happened is either the person themselves just screwed up and like got arrested and stuff, or they just obviously got killed themselves. Obviously, probably
Right.
both.
It's some stupid shit.
Yeah.
But by the way, so like this is in 2013 when Ryuk goes back to the human world,
Yeah.
and then it shows 2019 when the story like kicks up, and then Ryuk first met him in 2017 because it's 2 years prior.
Yeah.
So for 4 years, I guess Ryuk, it's the same thing we said earlier. I guess Shinigami just like don't really like care about time. Like
Yeah. That's just a weird thing. Yeah.
because later on he says like, "Hey, disappear for 2 years and then come back." So yeah, I guess like human ears just like don't really matter much to Shinigami.
So I wonder how he knew when to come back. Then, like, that's really weird. But then we find out we meet Manoru Tanaka, who
Right, we're
is
just flash forward to 2019, and then we cut back to 2017 when this like
yeah.
first.
I was gonna just mention the 2017 stuff first, just to keep it more organized.
I was trying to explain further like why I said 2019. It's because it like, jumps forward and then jumps back.
But Manoru Tanaka, we find out, is really good at like solving puzzles and quizzes and things like that, and he's really smart. However, he just doesn't really apply himself in school all that much. I think mainly because he's bored and just really doesn't care and all that type of stuff.
Which I think is a good parallel to Light and Ryuk, how they're both like just boredom mostly.
Yeah, but I like how it's different than Light though. Like Light actually tries hard in school and stuff like that, where this kid like is really good at like doing the tests and stuff, but he just doesn't care about like learning day-to-day like activities and things like that.
And like he says like he's like has a high IQ, I guess, which means like he has potential, but he just doesn't apply himself basically.
Yeah.
And then Ryuk is like seems all disappointed at first. He's like, "Oh damn it, I didn't pick a good one."
Yeah. Well, yeah, he drops the Death Note. This time it's different because he's like outside just chilling on the swing at the playground and stuff like that because he's like 14. At least in
2017, he'd be 16ish.
In 2019,
it just said he's in middle school.
Yeah, but
we can assume he's like 16 in 2019ish.
He drops the Death Note and he picks it up, and they talk for a bit outside. But obviously, because he's the only one that they can see him, they go into his room so they can talk privately.
And it is kind of funny how like he's trying to like not let Ryuk in his room. Like Ryuk's like, "Hey, let's go to your room." He's like, but it's messy."
Yeah, I thought that was funny. Yeah. And like he tries to like say like, yeah, but other people will see you. And I think I like it when he like goes into his room. He's like screaming, and he's like, yeah, dude, people can still hear you. You know that, right? Like, I thought that was funny.
And and to be fair to him, he's like, oh my god, this is Kira's notebook. This is how he like killed all those people.
Yeah.
And then
But
it's like, wow, you know a lot about Kira, huh?
yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, we learned about him in ethics class and world history.
Yeah.
And I like how Ryuk's like impressed by that. Like he's like, wow, huh? Kira really made a name for himself. Like he's impressed at Light. Yeah, because Minoru even says like some people view him as a god.
Yeah.
And Ryuk's like, wow, a god, huh? Because that's what Light wanted.
Yeah. It was really cool to think too, like, they don't talk, but in the ethics classes themselves, though, they don't really talk about him like in a positive light. Like they get to know that.
It's like the school like views him as like a terrorist and like a mass murderer.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, he said like some people view him as a god.
Yeah.
But and it's good world building, by the way. Like the second half of Death Note, a lot of people don't like it. And it's definitely the weaker half. But I think me and you said like we liked how seeing how Kira like influenced the world.
Yeah, because I remember
or just like terrified to even give their names.
Yeah, because that was I remember that was like a specific episode. I think it's the episode where we meet the new Kira that becomes the new Kira.
Yeah,
yeah, we meet Mikami was where that happens.
And like you see like TV shows like dedicated to like talking about Kira and like like worshiping him.
Yeah, so that was cool.
So, Light says like war stopped and crimes across the world like stopped by like 70%.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So it's just good world building, showing like how like something like that is like affecting the world.
Yeah, and then and funny thing is, this is 2019, right?
So this is like years after Kira is dead,
yeah.
And of course, like he's still talked about because if like if something like that happened in the real world, of course people like wouldn't forget about it. He'd definitely be like brought up in class.
The old movie did. So
yeah. Somehow people just forgot about that one.
We'll talk about that later, though.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny though. We mentioned world building and all that type of stuff. I know we're supposed to stay on topic, but this kind of has. If they go with the timeline that was in the real world, it's 2019. They're about to get another world built. I don't know about world building. 2020 is coming up.
Right. Oh god. Maybe that was Kira's fault.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, so like someone uses the Death Note. It's like, oh yeah, the scary sea is coming to get you.
Yeah, like that. That'd be funny if. It's just kind of funny to think that, like, in the Death Note universe, like, you had a pretty crappy time from, like, 2006 all the way to, like, 2022, I would say. Like,
oh, God, yeah. Listen, if you think our world is bad, just don't go to Death Note world, man.
Yeah.
You're in for a bad time.
But anyhow, so, yeah, they go to his room, and I like this because when Ryuk has to explain, like, anything from, like, the Death Note, pretty much it just if you turn the page, if you read the comic, or since AJ and I read it off our phones, we just swiped to the left. It's he kind of explains it like off screen or off the books type of thing, where
which like, makes sense, because like we've seen the original Death Note, we don't need Ryuk explaining it.
Yeah, so I kind of liked how that happened. But yeah, he explains
the joke of like Ryuk just gave him his Netflix password and let him watch the show.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
But
it's better than what Nia did.
Oh, what's up?
Better than what Nia did in the Death Note.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that's the epitome of just reading the script. Speaking of Nia, we'll get to him.
But anyhow, so yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, I was gonna say, I like how Ryuk never calls Light. He calls him Kira.
Yeah, because
he specifically mentions he can't give away personal information.
Yeah. They didn't really explain like why he couldn't give away like personal information. But again, it's one of those.
It's a cool way of showing like these people who like aren't associated with Light only see him as Kira.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, the only time we ever like I think Light is like mentioned by name is at the end when we see his name written in the Death Note.
Yeah, and then next, so then what happens is now that like Manoru has pieced everything together and learned all the information.
Right, and of course he mentions like, okay, the security cameras, like internet tracking, all that stuff, like makes things that happen with Light like impossible nowadays.
Yeah.
But then he like briefly mentions like, although if Kira's as smart as you says he is, he'd probably find a workaround for that stuff too.
Absolutely. So then,
and that makes Ryuk interested. Like, so are you that smart?
Yeah.
And then Ryuk mentions he just sat there quietly thinking for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Or like 4 hours, not 4 hours. 4 FOR, not the number 4.
I know. It's hard to explain that type of stuff.
But yeah, he was thinking how he doesn't want to be a murderer, basically.
Yeah.
But he thinks if I just give the Death Note back to Ryuk, I'll lose memory of it, and I never have to worry about it again. But Ryuk would just find someone else to use it.
For sure.
Might as well benefit from this, I guess.
Yeah. So then what happens is what he decides to do is he decides to give Ryuk the Death Note, and he forfeits it. And obviously, if you remember from the original Death Note, that I gotta stop the video for a second.
Why? It's still recording,
So if you remember, if you forfeit the Death Note, you give up any memories you have of the Death Note. But there's a catch. So Minoru tells Ryuk that you also can't have any apples, because he mentions that everyone in his household is on an apple diet, and he eats apples all the time. So it wouldn't really raise any questions if he all of a sudden just started eating apples and everything like that.
So he's just like, come back in 2 years, and Ryuk's like, oh, but I want apples. He's like, hey, yeah, well, when you come back, I'll give you all the apples you want.
So then 2 years goes by, and Ryuk's gone back, and he had a specific request for him to go up through the floor, and I think we kind of find out why this happens, I think, later on.
Oh, and he also asks Ryuk how far away he can get from the owner of the Death Note.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's important for the plan. And then Ryuk says there's not really a specific distance as long as I know where you are.
Yeah.
But he says roughly 12 kilometers because I can just fly to you real quick.
Yeah.
Tell where you are. And then and then of course he gives up the Death Note. And then when he gets his memories back when Ryuk returns in 2 years.
So now it's 2019 and
school. And then he explains okay, yeah, I'm gonna go through with the plan I came up with 2 years ago. This is the problem I had. Why the 2-year time jump? I don't really get it.
Yeah, you looked it up,
and it's the best explanation I've seen is for what happens later. He needs to open a bank account, and it's one, he was in middle school. He might have been too young to open a bank account then.
Yeah.
And two, if he opened a bank account right before his plan started, he'd be suspicious.
Right.
But because he opened it and then waited 2 years, no one would suspect him.
Absolutely. I just don't think
I don't know. The 2-year jump just seems unnecessary. I feel there's a workaround for it.
Yeah, I feel
it doesn't have as big a time jump.
Yeah, he could have waited 6 months to a year at least. I would have been okay with that.
I don't know. I don't get it. I just
So then, his plan pretty much.
The bidding doesn't seem to last that long. Later on, we see the bidding doesn't last that long.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just extend the period of the bidding.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I know. Yeah, he could have done that too. Yeah. I can understand
it should have started in 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
Make the time jump smaller.
I mean, I guess maybe the only reason I could come up with is a lot of people get jobs and when they turn 16, so maybe him opening a bit, getting money and stuff. But even then, it's I don't know.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I guess it's realistic. Why would a middle schooler have a bank account compared to a middle schooler? But I don't know. Even then, it's just the 2-year jump seems unnecessary.
Yeah. But anyhow, his plan pretty much is he's going to put the Death Note up for sale, and
this is clever. This is really different.
Yeah.
I how it's not him just being a copycat hero.
Yeah. I didn't expect it when I heard about it. I'm like, wait, you can do that? I never heard of because no one's probably ever tried that before, really. So
right, that's what I'm saying. It's really unique. You wouldn't think of that.
Yeah. So he's basically going to put the Death Note up for sale. However, there was,
sorry to interrupt, but it works well for the one shot, because like that's a very one and done idea kind of thing.
yeah, you need something that's not going to last that long. So
Right, like if he was a copycat Kira, I feel like you'd want to make that a series.
yeah,
But
so
yeah, this is a good idea for one shot, basically.
he has Ryuk go to Sakura TV and send them the Death Note so that way they'll make the announcement, because the whole thing was he can't just obviously go online and put it on like his eBay account, because that's obviously going to raise suspicions and stuff like that. So that's basically the get around to it. And he has Ryuk like go through like the road and everything like that. And Sakura TV makes the announcement, and a lot of this is just really the bidding and stuff like that. The detective agency and stuff, and like the high officials in Japan find out about it, and they're obviously worried about it at first because they've dealt with this before years ago.
And Ryuk mentions like they can still see him.
Yeah.
So when Ryuk brings that note card to Sakurai TV, like no one can see him. They just see like a hanging piece of paper in the air.
Yeah.
But like Maka and Aizawa and like Nier can like see Ryuk holding it up.
Yeah. So what happened is Nier gets back involved, and at this point everyone still thinks L's alive, which is I think which I liked that detail a little bit.
Right, he became the new L basically.
But I think they think it's like the same guy pretty much. So.
Oh yeah, because like when Light took over as L, they thought it was the same guy.
Yeah.
So then this guy took over as L from Light, and then everyone thinks it's the same guy.
I hate saying that, but the thing that this guy is just taking the L position now, like what? Come on, man.
He can take L's, but I don't want him to be L, basically.
Yeah.
By the way, I hate his new design. I'm not.
I hate him.
Hair. I hate him, and I hate his stupid fucking hair.
Yeah, and at this point, he's probably like what? How old was he when like Death Note was? He was probably like, because he was young, right? He was like 14.
Teenager, yeah, like early teens, like 14, 15.
So he's probably like a little bit older than like Light and like L probably were, like when the show started and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's like 20, early 20s. Got it.
Yeah. He's still like him though, even though he's in his early 20s. He's probably more of an asshole now. Read more scripts.
He does not look early 20s. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, he's probably early 20s. He does not look like a grown ass man.
No. He's probably reading all the scripts and giving out all the information that's going on in the media world.
And despite Nier like contributing literally nothing to this story, he's still the worst part of this.
I know.
I don't know how.
So
it's the dumbest shit.
Yeah, he realizes this is taking place in Japan because that's where the Kira was before. That's not going to mean anything because they know that Shinigami travel and everything like that. It could be taking place in other places. I guess because it went to Sakura TV, I guess. But it's like...
Well, even then, it's like Sakurai TV were like the channel that like had the whole Kira worshipping shit.
Yeah, so it's like...
So I think it makes sense if anyone... like for it to be them.
Yeah. But he tries to do this like stuff where like he wants to get like a face recognition and stuff of like
right. It's like built a model of Ryuk.
Yeah.
Like
but it doesn't really like go anywhere or anything like that. Like it's just like mentioned one time and then he just kind of moves on to like the next thing. And I get because like the
next time we see Nier, he blows it up, which I thought was kind of funny.
I know, it's like I guess he was like that didn't work. Let's move on to something else now.
Yeah, so the thing I feel like it feels like Nier doesn't even really try in this.
I know, he's like, it's like he gave up like halfway through it. Like, can you imagine if he had this mentality going up against Light? He would have Light would have beat him no problem. Like,
oh god, yeah, it's
I wish he had this mentality. Like, I think we all did.
Yeah,
like,
so if he would have died, that would have been nice.
I mean, I don't know I guess no one would have beaten Light, but you know, I just wanted Nier to freaking lose, man. Like,
yeah. And so a flaw. I feel like with the Nier conversations, a flaw in this one shot comes out, and it's very political. It's not so. And regardless of your alignments or whatever. I think the original Death Note did this better with, of course, the world at large is going to react to like a killer as big as Kira. So like, seeing like how the FBI and like the president react to that, and like seeing, stuff like that. That's like, I think good. I think that's a good use of politics. This is a little like, it feels a little too like in your face, I guess. Like it feels
because you had like
shoving in the reader's face, like
how you had characters like you never even like that were like one shots talking about this that really didn't need to be in the one shot or anything like that. Like random people just like you saw in like Manoa's school were just talking about it.
Right.
Like
there's like 3 or 4 scenes where it's like just Minoru like in the background listening to his classmates talk about like the situation.
Yeah.
And what was I gonna say? I hate Nier's point that like, is it illegal to sell the Death Note? It's illegal to kill people with it, but nowadays people, countries trade weapons of mass destruction all the time.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's with the modern setting, the writer's trying to like make a point. Like, oh, we trade nukes, so that's basically the same as trading a Death Note. And I'm like, no, no, it's not.
Not at all.
Because if a country nuked New York, that has consequences. Like, you can't just do that.
Yeah.
Everyone else in the world is going to be, furious. With a Death Note, that's like just you can kill anyone discreetly, like whenever you want.
I know. Yeah.
You can assassinate every world leader on the planet in an hour.
Yeah, especially too because like
you can't a whole different nuke. I mean, you can, but like not without consequence.
Especially too like you said, it's more discreet. Like you could like it's much easier to kill someone with the Death Note than with freaking nukes and stuff like that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like it's not the same thing at all. Like Nier's trying to say they're the same. It's like it's not the same.
There's also like collateral damage that could happen with like killing someone with a nuke.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like if you want to kill the president of America for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna drop a nuke on him. You're gonna bomb all of Washington D.C. And then guess what? The rest of the world is like, you just bombed an entire city.
Yeah.
We're all going to war with you.
Yeah.
Whereas, you use the Death Note that the president slipped in the bathtub and broke his neck,
Yeah.
No one can really like say you did that. Yeah. So it is two completely different situations. Yeah. And Nier, you're a dumbass as usual. This is what happens when he doesn't read the script.
Huh?
This is what happens when Nier doesn't read the script.
I know. So then the bid goes on for a while. At first, it's just like rich people that are just bidding for it and stuff like that. And then eventually...
he has them put their bids on Twitter.
Yeah. And at first, it's not really like... It's not taken seriously, but because they don't really think it's like the actual like Death Note and things like that.
Right, because like his classmates mentioned, like, oh man, this is a stunt from Sakurai TV. This just to get viewers and ratings.
Yeah, because like Sakurai TV has, with the old guy running the things, had been known to do that, like try to get as much stuff before that. So then Matsuda's back, and he's been kind of talking about this, which I like that they did put him back, but I don't like what they necessarily do with him. So
yeah, they brought back Matsuda and Aizawa, which is nice.
Yeah.
They don't handle them well.
Matsuda, because Ryu goes back to the TV station to like announce that he's like not putting an end to the bid, but I think he's what was the announcement? I don't even, because I remember they have Ryu go back to Sakura TV and stuff like that. I think because
the first time it was to announce, I'm bidding the Death Note that Kira used.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the first time that because the world at large didn't know how Kira was killing people.
Yeah, that was cool.
Now the world knows like that the Death Note is real.
Yeah.
Or that like it exists. That's how Kira killed people.
Yeah, that's cool.
The second time, what was the second announcement? It was
because it wasn't the bid was ended in it because
okay, I think it was the first one was to announce it. Okay, I'm thinking about them all. One of them was to announce the 1 week deadline.
Yeah.
Another one was because when it got to the points that the countries were bidding, he said like, all right, stop using Twitter, like have your official like media people like.
So I think the second time then would have been
the one
maybe
week.
the one because the 1 week deadline's before that.
Okay, I'll check just to make sure.
Yeah.
But you keep talking about
So yeah, we think at this moment shows up for the 1 week deadline, and this might be worse than that red versus blue video we made. Good thing we're doing this video.
No, we just forgot like one point. This is fine.
Well, also remember we had to like do other things, but
we are stupid for forgetting this. An important thing is they can't track Ryuk because Minoru asked the distance he can go from him as the owner of the note because of course he had to have him go to Sakurai TV, and then he had him phase through the floor and then travel underground back to his house.
Yeah, I did mention that. I said under the ground. I did say that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, he travels underground. Anyway, that's
we're not completely stupid.
You were right. The second announcement is the 1 week deadline.
Yeah, I thought so. But yeah, this is where Matsuda's character takes a downward spiral.
Right, because he was one of my favorites from the original Death Note. He was a good comic relief character, but he was competent, and him.
And I think if he did this like doing like Death Note like season 1 or something like that, like we would understand that. But this was like after Death Note had already ended.
6 years after Death Note ended, and I love that scene where he lights about to write one last name on his piece of paper, and then Matsuda just riddles him with bullets.
Yeah,
and
honest.
He saves the day basically, and he was basically like the embodiment of like every like complaint, all the disappointment his dad would have for him.
Yeah. So
he mentions how what did your dad die for? Like
yeah.
All the evil that you did. It's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we mentioned in our episode review of that one that like Matsuda really manned up and like no one's taking him as the joke anymore.
Well, that's not the case anymore.
Right. Or people to hold him back from killing Light.
Yeah, but that's not the case anymore because here's what happened. So Matsuda runs into the room and like basically like on Sakura TV, mentions that Ryuk and basically his appearance on Sakura TV because they mentioned like he had been on the news before and stuff like that from when they had to do that.
It was on the news back when the Kira situation happened.
Yeah, so
and he ran onto the set, showed his badge, and was like, "Hey, this is the police. Don't bid."
Yeah.
The thing is, he didn't go on and say like, "This isn't real. This is fake." He says, "Don't bid it." So like, he basically confirmed that it's real.
Yeah. So like
the producers or people on the set was like, "Hey, you're that guy from before," and he says, "Yeah, and that's why I'm telling you, like, do not bid for this." And then Aizawa and like the Near group are like, "That dumbass, he just confirmed that it's real."
Yeah, and then what happens is he gets put on a desk job like the rest of the
he's like, "All right, we need you away from the media. You're on desk duty." And then we have to see Matsuda again. That's it.
Like this was like. Honestly, the way they handled Matsuda was freaking terrible.
This is like character assassination, basically.
Yeah, it honestly is. Like now, you know what's gonna happen now. Now, when we do the episode, like, did Matsuda win or lose? Now it's a freaking loss. Like
right. Like
this is canon.
I thought we were gonna do that. Yeah, we're gonna do a did Matsuda win or lose.
Now it's a freaking loss.
I think we were gonna say he lost anyway, but like this is like a double loss.
Like honestly, because this is canon now. It's not like we can just forget about it. Like
right, it happens. And it's like, oh my god.
Oh, this is so bad. This honestly was. Oh my. So then
it is like my. Okay, Light L, Soichiro. Yeah, Matsuda. Matsuda's my fourth favorite character, and they do this shit to him.
It like knocks him down to like 5 now. Like,
oh my God, yeah, Mello might be taking his place now.
And Mello gets shit on too. Like,
oh yeah, honestly, yeah, they both get shit on.
I don't know who gets it. That should be a video. Who gets shit on worse, Mello or Matsuda? Because after this,
Yeah.
you could honestly make an argument for both of them. Like, this is so bad. Like,
oh man, they really fucked up Matsuda here. And again, like if this were season 1 Matsuda, I get it. You know, he's the kind of comic relief, like bumbly guy.
Yeah.
But like he had so much development, and he like became like a.
Funny thing is, like this in part 1 before the time skip, he does this like when he goes to like the
businessmen meeting who were like
but
debating.
that ends up kind of helping him in a sense, honestly. Like,
right, and then he gets himself out of that situation. He shows he's competent. He's a good cop.
Yeah.
And then after the time skip, like he's like competent. He's like not messing up like that anymore.
Like, what happened? Like, did he just like did they do the time travel get invented or something? And this was like season 1 Matsuda, but
right, he switched places. I guess after he found out Kira was light. He was just like, well, I guess I'm stupid again.
Yeah, like this honestly, this had from the times we've reviewed shows and stuff like that, this has to be like the worst like character assassination I think we've ever reviewed. Like this honestly is
and it happens in like 5 pages.
I know.
Keep in mind, guys, this is a short. This is like 70 pages, this whole story.
I think why I'm just mad about the movie, like I said, the only reason I'm mad about this is canon. We can't just pretend this didn't happen. Like, this sucks. Like,
right. This isn't like the L movie where like it's its own thing.
Yeah, that's like, yeah.
And it also sucks because like, Matsuda is like one of the only returning characters, and they fucking did such a bad job with him.
I know, because like they bring back Aizawa, but they don't even do anything bad with him. He's just kind of there, but like
Nier sucks, but that's just because Nier's an awful character.
Yeah, but this was just terrible. Like
Matsuda's a good character, and they just took a.
Why am I more mad about this too? It's not like they brought in like a new writer. This is the same guy that wrote the book that wrote the original manga. What are you doing? Yeah,
same guy. This guy can write good shit, and he just chose not to.
Like, did he just get bored in 2019? This doesn't even. If this was the pandemic, I would understand this. This isn't the pandemic era. What are you doing?
I think a big reason this sucks is because we don't see Matsuda again after this. This is it.
Yeah.
This is the end of Death Note.
Like, this is the last Matsuda scene of like the entire manga, probably.
And it's his boss telling him to go on desk duty forever. But
until like this dies down, like. And honestly, I think why this is worse is because now all the stuff we said, now he's gonna be taken seriously, and that because of this scene, that's not gonna happen now.
Right, like I'm still treating him like a joke, and it sucks.
But he's gonna be treated like even more of a joke after this now. Like, this is terrible.
Like, he fucked up bad.
This isn't just like a. So yeah, then the
the Death Note isn't gonna get used after this, but that is not because of Matsuda. If what happens if things happened a little differently, someone in the world would just have the Death Note and be able to kill whoever they wanted, and that would be 100% Matsuda's fault.
Yeah. But anyhow, so going back.
Rant over.
I didn't expect it, but honestly, because of that rant,
that's up there with our Nier rant. Honestly,
I feel like too that when we do our letter grades, that rant right there has to. I said
knock it down one probably.
It was a B-. It's going down to like C+ now. Like,
yeah, honestly, like we mentioned like that. We didn't like that, but it just exploded on that.
Yeah, but because it's one thing, right? I think why it's knocked down a letter grade, because what we say, keep in mind, we gave this a B-. We didn't really rant about it when we talked. AJ and I have been talking off screen for like an hour, and we were like, oh yeah, this was bad. I feel like because we actually had to review it. I don't know what happened. Like, it was just
we were just like, damn it. Well, because it's like, again, Nier shows up. We already hate Nier, so when he does something stupid, it's like, all right, it's just same old, same old. Yeah. We like Matsuda. Matsuda had good character development. He was in a good spot when the show ended, and then he came back and they fucked it up.
It's not like different writers. It's not pandemic writing. It's none of that. It's all.
Yeah. This guy came back, was like, I'm gonna write Death Note again, but Matsuda can just eat shit.
Did Matsuda's voice character like spit in his cereal or something?
After the show ended, I don't know what happened. He just decided, I hate this character I wrote. I hate Matsuda.
It's like he took his anger out on this character. Like
Shonen Jump was like, hey, can you come back and like write a sequel to Death Note? I will, but I have one. Like, you need to do one thing for me. What's that? I can just destroy Matsuda.
That's honest. I wouldn't be shocked if we just came back just to destroy this character. Like,
Oh God, yeah. Oh,
but anyhow, let's continue. Well, we have to move on. Like it seems like we can't move on from this too because it's so bad. Like,
it's like it's played to be funny, but it's like, oh my God. Again, season 1 Matsuda, fine. End of series Matsuda, no.
I think why this is gonna suck now is like I won't be able to watch any Matsuda scenes the same in the Death Note movie now, like the Death Note show now, because like it's gonna ruin all those scenes.
Right,
like,
knowing that later on he just fucks up so badly.
Like picture this, right? You haven't seen the end of Better Call Saul, but this isn't a spoiler. Picture like in Better Call Saul, like they did something that like didn't even make sense to do in the timeline, like with Saul or something like that. You wouldn't be able to watch like Breaking Bad the same ever again. Like
right, like Walter selling meth like 5 years before Walter ever got cancer.
Well, even though they do, since you know about the say like Jimmy met Gus like doing like one of the drug trades or something like that, and found out that he was like this big,
Right, and like he had no idea who Gus was before that. Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Or Walter. Oh, this is one that could ruin it. Walter White starts selling meth, doing the Better Call Saul timeline. That would ruin it.
Yeah.
But anyhow, continue.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from that. So yeah, now people know for sure. Like, all right, this Death Note thing's real.
Yeah. Fortunately.
So
what happens is the bids start to go up really high, and eventually
the point of because like one of his classmates mentioned. By the way, thank God for these classmates with their exposition.
I know.
Like Minoru is just sitting on his desk on the other side of the classroom, and these same like 3 dumbasses are just like explaining the plot.
Yeah. Good thing. It's like they're in the know in the news, and it's the same kids too. It's not like it's different people. It's these same 3 kids.
And like it's cool that like this is a big deal. People are talking about it, but like they're just like explaining like why everything's happening.
Yeah, these kids got better freaking character development than freaking Matsuda did in this freaking manga.
Right, but they explain that like the bids are going into like I don't know what like 200 billion or something.
Yeah.
And he explains like, the richest person in the world only has like 100 billion or something.
So this basically
like countries like bidding for this.
Yeah, and we found out that's the case. Like the governments for each country are bidding for this, and it's pretty much down.
You could go back to Sakurai TV and say like, okay, we all know these are countries bidding at this point.
Yeah.
So just have your official like PR people give the bids.
Yeah, and this is when at this point
like proxy people doing it.
Yeah, and they do a scene with Manoa and Ryuk. It's not a big scene, but he basically just says, "I think it's time to end the bidding now." And that's the 3rd time that Ryuk goes over to Sakura TV, so that way they can announce that the bidding's gonna end in like a week.
Oh, no, not the second one. We already went over that.
Oh, okay. So then the second one is.
The second one was the 1 week deadline, and then after that he explains like, okay, world leaders, just have your official people like give your bids.
Yeah. So then this was interesting what happened here. The world leaders, so AJ
are like
and
the real world leaders.
Yeah, at least at that time, anyways.
Oh yeah. So like see the actual like Prime Minister of China and like the actual President of the United States.
Yeah, which was pretty cool. I thought that
at the time he was President Trump.
Yeah, which was pretty cool that they had like the actual world leaders. Just because usually when a TV show or something does this, it's usually like just some random guy you've never heard of or something, or they'll put like a guy that's meant to be like, for example, Rick and Morty. Obviously, the president that's in Rick and Morty is meant to be Obama, but it's not Obama.
They don't say he's Obama and like clearly like different.
Yeah.
Or like I mentioned Corey in the House. He's just some guy.
Yeah.
Like he's not meant to be like Bush or like Reagan or like it's just like a random dude.
But it's cool that it's like actually like the world leaders for the most part. So what happens is it comes down.
They don't say he's Trump, but like he's very clearly Trump.
Yeah, just look at the picture and you'll know what we're talking about. Just you could probably find it on Google Images and stuff somewhere.
Yeah.
But the bid ends, and America.
Actually, before that, another little criticism I have. So, like, the people are like, the Chinese prime minister and like the U.S. president are going on TV and saying like, we're bidding this much and we'll never use it. We'll use it for world peace. We'll blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then he has Ryu go back again and being like, hey, stop like saying extra stuff. Just give your bids.
Yeah.
I feel like that was very clearly the author being like, like not liking the flowery language politicians use.
Yeah, that was definitely the case.
And
yeah.
then that's kind of what I mean. Like I don't know, like this one shot's very like politic heavy.
Yeah. And then the pretty much America wins the bid, which was hilarious that they had America win. I thought they would have like China win or something like
Actually,
that.
I think someone mentions like Japan would rather have America win it over China.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we see like the Chinese prime minister being like, "Oh shit, the Americans have it."
Yeah.
Which it's kind of funny. Again, it's a little, it's kind of dreading. It's kind of on that line, but I think it's better than the
Yeah, the Wii U thing that you talked about.
Yeah.
But
sorry, I'm just brain farting.
Then what happens is Manolo and Ryuk, it's about time for him to give up the Death Note.
Oh, and you're jumping ahead of it.
What happened? What happened before this?
We see Nier, and he mentions like, "Oh, hey, so like, how are we gonna get the Death Note?" Because
that's right.
Yeah, we've kind of been like ignoring Nier's plot. We should kind of go back a bit. So Nier's been explaining. Okay, so he tries to get like a face recognition for Ryuk, but it doesn't work. So he just blows it up, which was kind of funny.
Yeah. And then
he explains that he doesn't necessarily think what this nuke here is doing is illegal, because he makes the whole nuke comparison, which again I think is fucking
yeah,
stupid.
we talked about that. Yeah.
But then cutting head a bit, he's like, okay, we're gonna have to, it's a bid, so like, we're gonna have to try to catch him during like the money transfer, because once he gives up the Death Note, he won't have any memory of it.
Yep.
So we'll never be able to like prove he's Kira.
Yep.
So like we'll have to get him during the money transfer.
They never really like. I guess they do stuff with it, but like.
Yeah, I feel like we've been ignoring this one because like nothing really happens with it. Like this is kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Which is a reason why we're like, this didn't really,
Yeah.
Nier already sucks, and he's just like taking up precious screen time.
I know. But this case, well, I guess it is screen time in our case because it's we read it on our phones, so.
Yeah. But he mentions he doesn't necessarily think what he's doing is illegal, but he still wants to catch him because he's interested in him.
Yeah.
Because he like thinks this new Kira is like pretty smart and like he's like thought it out well.
Yeah.
Like I said, the point with Ryu going underground and like stuff, like he's thinking like, okay, this guy's like thought this out really well. I want to catch him.
And then eventually,
he kind of half-asses it. Like he really doesn't seem all that like motivated.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not motivated this time around. Like,
the only reason I freaking remembered this Nier plot is because America wins, and then they're like, so what are we gonna do? Like, how are we gonna like, even if we know like the president of the U.S. has the Death Note, it's gonna be like impossible to take it from him.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know. I live in America, so I'm not really motivated to go get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god.
He had like no motivation at all this time. He gave no fucks.
Right.
But anyhow, so then eventually the
people are wondering like, how is he gonna get the money? Because like, if some random dude got like 200 trillion or whatever the bid was, like that's obviously noticeable.
Yeah. Which obviously that's kind of explained later on. But
one of his classmates before this explained like the money that like the president like put down, the winning bid equals Japan's like national debt.
Yeah.
So like they mentioned like Japan is like has the most debt of any country.
Yeah.
but like their assets are also like one of the greatest of any country, so like it evens out.
Yeah. Don't they? Isn't there like a thing? They reference like World War II at one point or some type of war where they say Google it or something like that.
Yeah,
Because
it's not super important. It's like
yeah, I'm just saying it's back to that politics.
it's real world stuff where it's
Yeah.
like Japan is like one of the highest debts,
Yeah.
but it's also like it outputs enough to like
Yeah.
keep the debt like from being a big deal.
So then what happens is eventually the bidding's over and America wins and
And then people are wondering like how is he gonna get the money?
yeah. So what happens is Takeda I knew it was Minoru, there it is. I knew his name.
It's Tanaka because Takeda was the Red Pember's fiance.
I was just trying to freaking remember his first name and I couldn't remember it.
Yeah.
He's like the only character that's new and I couldn't remember his name. I think because we've been.
That's why I said earlier. It's like thank God there's only like one new character, so like we don't have to remember a bunch of names.
I know, but Minoru and Ryuk have their last scene together, and he hands over the death note, but he tells him basically if this plan, not that it doesn't work, but if I still have any memories of you, just basically don't come back type of thing and all that type of stuff. And Ryuk goes over. Now let's mention this earlier. We probably jumped ahead, but earlier in the manga or the comic or whatever, he gets called by like the head of the Shinigami, and we find out what that means about when he meets with the presidents. But
yeah, like another Shinigami comes over to Ryuk and he's like, "Hey, the Shinigami King wants to talk to you."
Yeah.
Oh wait, you missed. Ryuk goes back to Sakurai TV one more time.
And what does he do there?
To explain like how the money gets transferred.
Oh, I missed this part then.
Yeah, do you want to explain it or?
I forget it, to be honest.
Okay, well this is a big deal.
I think I was falling asleep a little bit when I read it again. To be fair, so.
Wow, didn't like it, huh? Man, I'm falling asleep. It's so bad.
I was up early this morning, so.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, Ryuk goes back to Sakurai TV one more time. And, of course, all the characters are wondering, like, how would this new Kira even get the money? Because, like, if the president transferred that much money to one person, it's, like, going to be super noticeable.
Yeah.
Ryuk goes back and, writes down one more time that, like, everyone with, I think, Yotsuba was the name of the bank, Yotsuba Bank. Everyone under the age of 60 with a Yotsuba Bank account will get like the money evenly distributed to them.
Oh, I remember this now. Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh shit, that's really smart because, people under 60 that'll like, it'll limit the people who like Kira could be.
Yeah.
But like anyone under 60 is still like a huge age range. That's hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh yeah, so that was a nice get around. Yeah.
Right. So it works as a way to like he still gets a lot of money. Because of course, like if everyone of any age would got the money, like the money gets more and more spread out.
Yeah. Well,
so we still like a shit ton of money, but it like limits the it's still like a ton of people who could be Kira.
Yeah, and I remember we're jumping. Even though I'm jumping ahead a bit, like at the end of the thing or whatever, like everyone's like goes on like a kind of a bit of a spending spree because of that and everything like that. So
right, it's still like everyone's still like filthy rich.
You know what the thing is? I
think they give us the exact number of like what everyone got.
Why I think I probably forget about this too, because there were points when I'm reading this where because it's reversed, because it's Japanese and stuff, I would read like obviously you read like
right, yeah, you read left to right in American, but in Japan they read it right to
yeah.
left.
So I think I probably read it right to left, and that's probably why I forgot about it too.
Right.
So.
See, I started reading manga when I was like 12, so I'm kind of used to it at this point.
Yeah. So I think you're more. That's probably why you remember that easier than I did. So.
Right. Yeah. But Nier's team was like shit. I mean, we already expected him to be like a younger person.
Yeah.
But like it's not like the under 60 limit helps.
Yeah. And
at this point, Nier is like, there's literally nothing we can do. For the first time.
Not like he was trying much, anyways.
Like, right. He didn't even really give a shit. But he was like, I do like this part because for the first time since I became L, I must admit defeat. And I'm happy about that because I fucking hate Nier, and I'm glad.
That was good. I mean, what sucks about it though is like, everyone thinks it's the original L, so everyone's gonna think everyone think it's the original L that freaking lost. So it's like that sucks.
Right. And it's like, I don't know. Even then, he just wasted screen time. Like, keep in mind, like 70 pages for like this whole story. That's not a lot when you think about it.
Yeah. Like you think about it, like after like the bidding, pretty much Manoa's kind of just in the background for like most of the manga after that. Like he doesn't really show up.
We get much like with Manoa, like what he thinks about this.
Yeah.
I guess the most we get with him is like he says like he wants the world leaders to stop making like other statements besides their bids.
Yeah, but like that's really it. Like,
but I feel like it's really more the author talking.
Yeah. I mean, this thing could have easily. I know it's like a miniseries, but this easily could have been because it's only like 87 pages, probably 86 if you take out like who they say the director is and all that type of stuff. So this easily could have been like another like at least 90 or at least 100 pages or something like that. Like add more.
Like this is a nice story, but like we already said like we don't like what Matsuda did. That was like character assassination.
Yeah, maybe take out what Matsuda did.
Stuff is like pointless. He literally just doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Minoru never even mentions L. Like
no,
he doesn't even know Nier is trying to catch him.
Yeah.
Which is just like wow.
Yeah, that's a big thing because that's a big thing why Death Note works is I get they wanted to do something different with it, but the biggest reason why we like Death Note so much is the rivalry between Kira and L. So.
Right, it's such a big part.
Because without that, the Death Note doesn't work as well. So.
Right, it's the big cat and mouse chase.
Yeah. Wasn't much chasing or wasn't much mouses
going
on.
Like literally, it just happened.
Yeah.
And we'll get to this when we get to the end, but the way Minoru like loses is bullshit.
Yeah. Well, now I can finally talk about it. So Minoru and Ryuk have their last scene. Have we covered everything before I actually talk about it?
Let me check. Nier lost. Again, Nier just sucks. He shouldn't have even been in it.
Yeah.
The Matsuda stuff, yeah. We covered like we don't really like how Minoru just like doesn't really do anything after.
Yeah, we did cover that. Yeah, I was actually the one that brought that up too.
Yeah. I know. I'm just saying like he was really in the background. He didn't really do anything. But yeah, we're at the part where did we mention the Shinigami who like brought Ryuk to like meet with the Shinigami?
We mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't find out like what they talked about yet, but we're gonna find out now. Yeah, Ryuk goes to the U.S. president. Yeah. Okay. Minoru gave ownership of the Death Note. He says, "Never come to me again. I just want to live a happy life from now on."
All right, so this one I think I'm gonna get. So Ryuk goes to the U.S. president and reveals that he won the bid. However, there's been a new rule added to the Death Note, and that's whoever buys or sells the Death Note will die. So basically, the second that the Death Note comes out of Ryuk's hands and whoever bought it touches it, they both will die pretty much.
Right, because I guess the Shinigami King was like pissed that Ryuk was making such a huge public thing with the Death Note.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, if this bid's happening, I'm gonna kill whoever sold it and bought it.
Yeah, because I guess that is one thing. I guess it wasn't like public. I guess when it was going on because only like the FBI people and stuff like really knew about it and stuff like that. Like not the whole world and all that type of stuff. So.
Right. This is a very different situation.
So that was fine. So pretty much the president of the United States like has this Death Note and could do all this stuff with it, but he really can't now because if he touches it, he's gonna die. And
Ryuk mentions like, I mean, you can say if you want.
Didn't he mention like no matter what, he's just gonna like leave the Death Note there or something like that? Like whoever picks.
Well, he says like if the president doesn't touch it, he's just gonna take the Death Note.
Yeah.
But he does take the Death Note and dies. He'll just leave it there. So like in the Oval Office. So like anyone can just come pick it up and like America will still own the Death Note.
So what happens is they basically pull some politics, and the president of the United States basically is going to lie and says that America has the Death Note, but he's really just going to give up the Death Note.
Right, he's gonna die. So he's saying like, okay, I'll tell people I have the Death Note, and they'll think I never used it, and they'll think I'm a saint.
Yeah, which is honestly
as like you're pretty shrewd, huh, Mr. President?
Yeah. And honestly, considering who the president is here, it makes sense that it's Trump. So
Right. So it's like oh gee, I wonder how the author thinks about politics.
Yeah.
Very subtle.
And maybe Trump in general.
Right. It's very, I don't know, again, very in your face. Not a huge fan of it.
So then
not even like my political leanings. It's just I just think it's like not subtle. It's just like too in your face.
But then pretty much what happened is Ryuk leaves, and I think the money gets like transferred, and that's what causes
Well, Ryuk thinks like, oh yeah, because it's like briefly mentioned like the bank is gonna like let people take their money in like bits.
Yeah, so I think that's what caused him.
Before Ryuk leaves, he's like, well, I'll get my money in like a month, I guess.
Yeah.
So he's not gonna get it right away. And then Ryuk, as he's leaving the Oval Office, he's like, oh yeah, so should I tell Minoru that he's gonna like die if he takes the money?
Yeah.
Nah.
You
told me to never come back, so I guess I won't come back.
So I like that Ryuk.
That's very in character for Ryuk. He's just an asshole.
Yeah. So I like at least they kept Ryuk's character the same and stuff. He got a good payoff. So.
Right. And you see a bunch of people after they get their money, they're like, I bought a new car, I bought a new house. Thank you.
Yeah. So they're like worshiping Kyo again, yeah. And then Manoa died, which sucks because we talked about it.
This is bullshit. Like he literally did everything right.
Yeah.
And it's like died anyway.
It wasn't even that though. He didn't have to face up against. We talked about. He didn't face up against L. He didn't have an opponent at all. Really, it was just that
he was just like everything was going according to plan,
and he got screwed over.
And he died.
Yeah,
and it wasn't even like because of like something he didn't know. Okay, it was because of a rule that happened like at the last second.
Yeah,
like everything was going according to plan. At the last second, Ryuk added that rule.
I know, that was just so.
And I mean, Ryuk pointed that out at the end. It's like, man, your plan was perfect, but I guess whoever uses the Death Note will have their life end in tragedy.
I know.
And like, I like the idea of that. Like, no matter what, if you use the Death Note, you're just like gonna meet a tragic end.
But like not like this. This was.
But not like that. Exactly. It's the same thing with Light. I don't mind that Light lost. If anything, I like that he lost. I just don't like how he lost.
Well, not necessarily how. Okay, I guess how he lost. The build up to his loss.
We mentioned before the last episode of Death Note is good in isolation.
Yeah.
Like if you ignore what led up to that point, it's good.
Yeah.
But if you have what led up to it, it's like eh.
Yeah.
Because again, Light didn't even lose because of him. He lost because of Mikami.
I know. Well, it wasn't even just that.
Same like with Minoru. He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Well, he did things wrong. He didn't lose because of what he did. He lost because of bullshit.
I know.
Like, honestly, if they're gonna lose, I want them to lose because of like their own like flaw.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, like he gets screwed over worse than Light because, like we talked about it, he did everything right, never really made a mistake, and he lost because the bullshit rule got made at the last second.
Right. Like within a week of like his plan working.
Yeah.
But I do like that Ryuk wrote his name on the same page as Light.
That was good, yeah.
Because if we you see the page, Light's, Ryuk has obviously been writing names in the notebook, but he left Light's name as the only one on that page.
Yeah,
and then he writes Minoru's name on that page too.
Which shows like how highly he like thinks of like both of them and stuff like that.
And like keep in mind, like Ryuk's an asshole. Like he doesn't like them like as people.
Yeah.
Like kills them and he's like, well, whatever. I guess fun's over.
Yeah.
So I hesitate to say Ryuk like respects them. But like he thinks more highly of them than other people, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so. Because remember, you can't kill a Shinigami. Can't like care about people if they kill them because that causes them to die too. So
right. So yeah, I do like that Ryuk like kind of has a special place for Light in Minoru.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see Minoru. He was at the ATM collecting his money. He just died.
Yeah. That's a bullshit.
And then the final page is like, Ryuk thinking about apples and being like, I wonder if the next person I find will keep me entertained for a bit longer.
I mean, the thing that he loses too, and he has like a quiet like Light got like at least Light's loss was like in front of, like they're just gonna think he just died randomly now too.
Right? Yeah, no one will ever know he's Kira. He just died.
Just maybe the president. That's it, probably. Like
yeah,
but the president might not even know.
If like the president tells Nier that like about the Death Note. and then they find out this kid like dies as soon as he collects his money. They'll think it's him, I guess.
I guess, but like, yeah, even then, I think like I feel like the president's like not even gonna know. Like that sucks. Like,
Well, yeah. Why would the president know about some random teenager and dying?
Like that sucks. Like,
it's kind of just like, huh?
Yeah.
You know, I think this is a good story. It just kind of ends on like a fart.
Ends and then like, yeah. Let's see. What will our letter grade? They were like a B- when we start when we. Let's do a little behind the scenes. We talked about this for like well, not this necessarily, but we talked about this.
We said like, we think it's like a B-
I'm honestly going like a C now. Like,
yeah, C+. I think the main highlights of this are, seeing Death Note in the modern day, which we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Taking into account like, okay, like, how do you get by like all surveillance and like, stuff like that. And of course, seeing like how the original Death Note affected the world, like all the how people
that was cool.
Now view Kira. And I do like how different it was. Like Minoru is not light. He's not going to be copycat Kira.
I liked,
I like how he's like, I'm gonna get rich off of the Death Note.
And I like that they did a storyline that fit like the short, because obviously they couldn't do like a big the storyline that they did worked for doing the short and everything like
right.
That,
it's really unique. Like I would never have thought of this.
Yeah. Funny thing is, like, now that it's been like brought up, it's like, wow, how could I not have thought of this? Like, it's so easy. Like,
right, yeah. And it's funny, with like stuff like this, like, this was the first Death Note chapter in years.
Yeah.
And when something like that happens, you want to see the old characters. The old characters were the worst part of this.
I know.
Nier sucked as usual, and Matsuda got like butchered.
And Aizawa wasn't really even in it either.
Yeah,
He's just
Aizawa was in like 2 panels.
I don't even think he has a talk. He doesn't talk or anything.
He speaks.
Yeah. It's like he went mute. It's like he went mute.
Yeah, I know, right? Maybe that's like we'll get another one shot. It turns out he like lost his voice like in between these stories.
Yeah.
But
he had a cold for 4 weeks.
Yeah. He's really mad at Matsuda right now. He doesn't want to speak to him. He's giving him the silent treatment.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. But Ryuk's fine. I like Ryuk. Ryuk's
he's good.
Character.
Yeah, I'll give it like a C. I think like we talked about it. I think
like is good at first, but then like you said, he's in the background for like half the story. He doesn't really talk.
Yeah. I think we talked about it. The reason you probably liked it better than me is because you had to sit through like a lot of crappy Death Note stuff before you even like really read this or anything like that.
Right.
So
I did not like the Netflix Death Note, and that was I wanted to like see modern day Death Note in that movie, and I got a really shitty version of it.
So this was like
is like at least it's better than that
one.
So yeah, like it's.
I mean, picture this, right?
It's a one shot. There's only so much you can do with the limited time.
Yeah. But picture this, right? I want you to imagine this real quick. This was a C, and we freaking ranted for like half of the video.
Right.
The Death Note. This is why the Death Note Netflix one has to be 400. Because that'll be a fun time. Unless I like it, that's gonna be a real fun time if I like it.
That I feel like that'll be fun, like seeing you like it and me just shitting on it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Listen, I like 2 things in that movie. 2.5, maybe.
Imagine I like 3. I feel like you're gonna be like, I feel like even me liking 3 things is gonna be like, you're gonna have to have a serious conversation.
What? How do you like that half a thing? Unbelievable.
I feel like you're gonna end our friendship. That's it. I mean, I know we're family, but like,
I'm not your cousin anymore. I drain all of the blood out of my body and get new blood, specifically so I'm not related.
But anyhow, I think that's pretty much the end of this video.
Yeah, give it a C. It's very average. It's fun. It's nice.
I like, by the way, this was supposed to be a short video. It's like an hour and a half because of that Matsuda scene.
Yeah. This was an hour and a half. Holy shit, you're right.
Because remember, we did it with earlier take, so.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. So we're 2 away, I think, So let's do the behind the scenes. The reason why we don't know whether or not how many videos we are is because YouTube's changed their outlook now, where you can't see how many videos you have on your channel anymore. So I think this is 397, and then the next one's no, this would be 398 actually, because it's 3 videos. So 398, 399. No. Yeah, it's 398, then the next one's 399, then 400. So we got 2 more videos. And if we do
the L movie and the Netflix one we mentioned before.
Yeah. And if, like we said before, if we upload those 2 videos, we'll officially have made more videos in 2023 than in 2022. So
listen, with this one video we made right now, we have matched the we've matched the 2022 videos.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it, guys. I assume there's nothing you want to plug or promote because you have nothing.
No. Yeah. I do plan on making videos eventually, but hopefully.
That may have to be more of a more realistic if once college ends for you too. Like we have to.
Right. Yeah. It's tough now because of course I'm in my last year of college, so I have a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But once I graduate and I get settled and stuff, it'll probably be easier for that.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it, guys. As for me, you can check out Wrestling Fortune 44 for my wrestling channels, Owen the Talkinator, where we talk about other things, and we have a big announcement coming up for that. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.